Good everyone. Today, I want to share with you 7 truths that can end procrastination and destroy every excuse you tell yourself. These are simple, powerful ideas. If you live by them, you will take control of your life. You control your actions, not the world. This is one of the most important truths to understand if you want to stop making excuses and take charge of your life. Too often, people blame the world for their failures. They say, if only the circumstances were different, or I would do it if things were easier. But the truth is, the circumstances will never be perfect. The weather might not cooperate, people might not support you, resources might be limited, and problems will always appear. Waiting for the perfect moment is a trap, and the world will never give you that perfect moment. Life is not about waiting for things to fall into place. It is about deciding what you can do right now, despite everything. You cannot control what happens outside, but you can control how you respond, and that is the most powerful thing you have. When you focus on what you can control, you free yourself from frustration. Many people waste time and energy trying to control what is outside their power. They worry about other people's opinions, the economy, the weather, traffic, or even global events. They feel powerless when these things do not go their way, and they make excuses to justify their inaction. But if you look closely, all of these concerns are outside your control. You cannot change them. What you can change is yourself. You can control your actions, your choices, your effort, your mindset, and your attitude. Every time you shift your focus from what you cannot control to what you can, you take a step toward real freedom. Understanding that you control your actions also means taking full responsibility for your life. No one else can do your work for you, achieve your goals for you, or fix your mistakes. When you stop blaming the world, you stop waiting for external help. You recognize that you are responsible for your success, your growth, and your happiness. This might feel heavy at first, because it means there are no excuses left. No one to blame, no one to rescue you, no perfect conditions to wait for. But this is also empowering. Once you accept that your actions are in your hands, you realize that you are not a victim of the world. You are the captain of your own ship, and your direction depends on your choices. This truth also teaches the value of consistency. You may not be able to control every event, but you can control your effort every day. Small, steady actions accumulate into results. You cannot make the world predictable, but you can make yourself reliable. You cannot decide what opportunities appear, but you can decide how prepared you are to act when they do. Every day, you have the power to choose effort over excuses, action over inaction, progress over procrastination. The world may throw obstacles at you, but your response will determine whether they stop you or make you stronger. When you focus only on what you can control, life becomes simpler. Decisions become clearer. You stop wasting energy on fear, worry, and blame. Instead, you focus on your work, your goals, your habits, and your mindset. You realize that power does not come from controlling others or waiting for perfect circumstances. It comes from controlling yourself, your reactions, and your actions. You learn to act decisively, to take responsibility, and to embrace the challenges that life presents. The world will always be unpredictable, unfair, and full of obstacles, but your actions are always within your reach. No one can take that power away from you, and no excuse can hold you back if you consistently act with intention and purpose. Excuses are illusions. Most people think excuses are harmless, but they are one of the biggest obstacles to progress and success. When you say, I don't have time, I'm too tired, I'll start tomorrow, or I'm not ready, you are creating stories in your mind to avoid action. These stories feel real, but they are not. They are illusions, masks we put on to justify staying in our comfort zones. The moment you recognize that excuses are not truths but choices, you gain power over them. Every excuse is a decision to avoid responsibility, a choice to delay your growth, a preference for comfort over action. Excuses often come from fear. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of discomfort, and fear of the unknown are all reasons people make excuses. Saying, I can't do it, or it's too hard, feels safer than facing the possibility of struggle or criticism. But hiding behind excuses only prolongs pain and regret. The moment you act despite fear, the illusion of the excuse disappears. The challenge seems smaller, the fear fades, and you realize that the only thing stopping you was the story you told yourself. Excuses also create a false sense of control. When you blame external circumstances, other people, or bad timing, it feels like you are rationalizing your inaction. You tell yourself, if only this or that were different, I could succeed. But this is an illusion of control. Real control comes from recognizing what is within your power, which is your action, your effort, and your choices. The moment you stop making excuses, you reclaim your power. You stop waiting for permission or perfect conditions, and you start acting with purpose. Excuses grow stronger when you feed them with thoughts and habits that reinforce inaction. Every time you say, "I'll do it later," your brain learns that delay is acceptable. Every time you blame something outside yourself, your mind becomes trained to avoid responsibility. This creates a cycle where excuses feel natural and unavoidable. Breaking this cycle requires awareness. You need to notice when an excuse arises, identify it for what it is, and act anyway. Action is the antidote to excuses. No amount of thinking, planning, or waiting will replace taking the first step. Excuses also prevent learning. When you avoid action because of excuses, you miss opportunities to grow, to fail and recover, to improve. Every excuse you make is a moment lost, a lesson missed, a chance to develop strength, skill, or resilience. By choosing action over excuses, you engage fully with life. You experience challenges directly, learn from mistakes, and discover what you are capable of. Excuses shield you from effort, but also shield you from growth. Excuses are seductive because they feel justified. They often sound reasonable, and you can find evidence to support them. The work is too hard, the conditions are imperfect, you are tired, or someone else is in the way. These justifications make excuses seem logical. But logic is useless without action. Progress is never born from justification, it is born from doing. The longer you indulge excuses, the longer you delay the life you could have, and the more you reinforce the habit of avoiding responsibility. Recognizing excuses as illusions is liberating. Once you see that excuses are not truths, you can stop believing them, stop creating them, and stop acting on them. Every time you act despite an excuse, you weaken its power and strengthen your discipline, courage, and self-control. Excuses are nothing more than stories you tell yourself to avoid the discomfort of effort, and the more you challenge them, the more freedom you gain. Pain is temporary, regret is forever. Life is full of challenges, discomfort, and difficult moments, and most people avoid them because they fear the pain. Pain can be physical, mental, or emotional, but it is always temporary. It comes, it is felt, and it eventually passes. People avoid taking action because they see discomfort as something to escape, but avoiding pain often leads to far greater suffering later. Regret is the consequence of inaction, of ignoring opportunities, of waiting for the perfect conditions that never come. Unlike pain, regret lingers. It follows you silently, reminding you of the chances you did not take and the effort you refused to give. Understanding this difference is critical to living a life of purpose and discipline. Pain is a signal, not a stop sign. It tells you that growth is happening, or that you are moving beyond your comfort zone. When you push your body to exercise, study when your mind resists, or confront difficult conversations, you experience discomfort. This discomfort is temporary, yet the results of action extend far beyond the moment. The soreness after effort, the anxiety before starting a task, the nervousness before a challenge, all of these feelings pass, but the progress you make remains. Regret, on the other hand, is permanent because it represents missed opportunities. The moment you choose inaction over effort, that moment is gone forever. You cannot go back and reclaim it. Most people underestimate how much pain they can handle. They exaggerate their fear of discomfort and convince themselves that it is unbearable. Yet every person has survived difficulty, hardship, and struggle before. Pain is not permanent, but fear of pain can paralyze you, making it feel endless. The key is to act despite discomfort, knowing that the temporary pain is part of the process. By embracing the difficulty, you train yourself to endure, to grow, and to move forward even when conditions are challenging. Every small step taken through resistance builds resilience and confidence that cannot be taken away. Regret is far more damaging than any temporary struggle. It is a silent, persistent companion for those who avoid effort. You can forget the discomfort of a hard workout, the stress of a tough project, or the anxiety of a difficult conversation, but the memory of wasted time or missed opportunity remains. Regret grows over years as you realize how many chances were lost because of fear or laziness. Unlike pain, which teaches and strengthens, regret only reminds you of what could have been. Every moment wasted avoiding temporary discomfort is an investment in regret, and the cost compounds over time. Pain can be endured, pain can be managed, and pain can be used as a tool for growth. It is temporary, measurable, and finite. You can decide how to respond to it, how to face it, and how to let it shape you. Regret cannot be managed once it sets in. You cannot undo the past or recover the time lost. The difference between temporary pain and lasting regret lies in action. Choosing to act, to push, to do the hard thing now, means facing temporary struggle with courage. Choosing inaction allows fear and comfort to dominate, leaving behind only regret that echoes long after the moment has passed. The choice between pain and regret appears often in life. Every opportunity to work hard, to take responsibility, to step forward into discomfort is a crossroads. One path requires enduring temporary difficulty, and the other allows you to avoid it but guarantees the lingering presence of regret. The path of action demands courage, consistency, and patience, but the rewards last. The path of avoidance feels safe in the moment, but grows heavier as time passes. By seeing pain as temporary and regret as permanent, you learn to prioritize effort, embrace challenges, and take decisive action even when it is uncomfortable. Focus on what truly matters. Life is full of distractions, noise, and endless demands on your attention, and most people spend their energy chasing things that have little real value. They worry about what others think, they react to every message, email, or notification, and they spread themselves too thin across tasks that do not move them forward. Focusing on what matters requires clarity, discipline, and the ability to separate the essential from the trivial. The world will always offer distractions, and the mind will always try to wander, but success and fulfillment come only when you direct your attention toward what is important. Most people confuse activity with progress. Being busy does not mean you are productive, and doing many small things does not mean you are moving closer to your goals. True progress comes from focused effort on the things that have the greatest impact. Focusing on what matters means understanding your priorities and committing to them consistently. It requires saying no to tasks, people, and habits that pull you away from your purpose. Every time you allow distractions to control your attention, you are losing time, energy, and momentum on what could bring real results. Focus is also about control. You cannot control everything in life, but you can control where you place your energy. You can choose which thoughts to dwell on, which actions to take, and which goals to pursue. Most people let their attention drift wherever the world pulls it, reacting to problems, gossip, or fear instead of taking deliberate action. By deciding what matters and keeping your focus there, you reclaim control over your life. You stop being a victim of circumstances, and you start shaping your life according to your intentions. The distractions of life are powerful because they offer instant gratification. Social media, entertainment, and constant stimulation provide temporary pleasure that feels easier than hard work. The mind prefers comfort and avoidance over effort and discipline. Yet every moment spent on distractions is a moment away from growth, achievement, and purpose. Focusing on what matters requires self-discipline, a willingness to endure boredom, and the courage to resist temptation. It is not always enjoyable, but it is necessary for meaningful results. Focus also requires clarity about your values and long-term goals. When you know what is truly important to you, decisions become simpler. You no longer waste time on trivial matters, and you can evaluate every choice based on its alignment with your priorities. Every task, every conversation, and every effort can be measured against what truly matters. This clarity reduces indecision, hesitation, and wasted energy, because you are no longer chasing illusions of importance. Consistency is the natural result of focus. By directing your attention toward what matters every day, you build habits and momentum that compound over time. Small, deliberate actions repeated consistently create results far beyond what occasional bursts of effort can achieve. Focus protects your energy from being scattered, ensures that your time is invested wisely, and allows you to make steady progress even when circumstances are difficult or unpredictable. Focusing on what matters also strengthens your mind. The ability to concentrate, to resist distractions, and to prioritize effort over pleasure is a skill that grows with practice. Every time you redirect your attention to what is essential, you reinforce your discipline and your capacity for self-control. Your mind becomes sharper, your decisions clearer, and your actions more powerful. Life will always be chaotic and unpredictable, but a focused mind is a mind that can navigate any challenge with clarity and purpose. When you focus on what truly matters, you learn to act intentionally instead of reactively. You spend your energy on effort that counts, decisions that matter, and habits that shape your character. Distractions will always exist, but your attention is a choice, and by choosing focus, you multiply the impact of every action, strengthen your discipline, and move steadily toward meaningful results. Action creates clarity. Many people wait to feel motivated, inspired, or ready before they take the first step, but this is a trap. Motivation often comes after you start, not before. The mind can be full of doubts, fears, and questions, and thinking too much can create confusion instead of solutions. You may overanalyze, worry about making mistakes, or imagine every possible obstacle, and the result is paralysis. Action is the antidote to this uncertainty. The moment you take a step, even a small one, the fog begins to lift, and clarity starts to emerge. Taking action breaks the cycle of procrastination. Procrastination is fueled by hesitation and fear. You think about the task too much, worry about the outcome, and convince yourself you need more time, information, or preparation. But these are illusions. Waiting does not create clarity, it creates anxiety and delays progress. By acting, you test your assumptions, learn what works, and see the reality of the situation. The first step is often the hardest, but it sets everything else in motion. Action turns ideas into experience, theory into practice, and confusion into understanding. Action also reduces fear. Many people delay tasks because they imagine the worst-case scenario or overestimate the difficulty. The mind exaggerates obstacles when left unchecked. Once you begin, you face reality instead of imagination. You realize that the task is not as impossible as you feared, that challenges can be managed, and that you are more capable than you thought. Action diminishes fear by confronting it directly. It replaces imagined difficulties with actual experience, and each step forward builds confidence and competence. Clarity from action comes through learning. Every choice, effort, and attempt teaches you something. When you act, you discover what works, what does not, and what requires adjustment. Waiting, planning endlessly, or overthinking only delays this learning. Action produces feedback, and feedback is the foundation of improvement. You cannot understand the full scope of a problem or the best path forward without engaging with it. Action is not only a way to move forward, but also a way to understand the situation fully, to see the opportunities and to recognize the real challenges. Action also builds momentum. Once you take a step, the next step becomes easier. Doing something creates energy, focus, and a sense of progress that motivates continued effort. The first action is like lighting a spark. It ignites movement, and each successive effort adds fuel. Momentum is powerful because it carries you forward, reducing hesitation, doubt, and distraction. When you wait, you miss this momentum, and the task remains a heavy burden. Action transforms potential into kinetic energy, turning intention into reality. Action creates clarity about priorities. When you engage in work, you see what is important, what is urgent, and what is necessary. Thinking alone cannot reveal this with certainty. The moment you act, decisions become clearer, and you understand where to focus next. Action separates what is essential from what is trivial. It allows you to see the results of effort, the impact of choices, and the real consequences of delay. Without action, priorities remain abstract, and energy is wasted on indecision or minor distractions. Action strengthens discipline. The habit of starting, even when you do not feel ready, builds self-control and reliability. Every completed step reinforces the ability to act in the future. Clarity is not only intellectual, it is practical. You understand the process, the challenges, and the results because you have engaged directly. Your mind becomes sharper, your confidence grows, and your ability to take decisive action improves with each step. Action creates clarity because it transforms uncertainty into experience. Thought alone cannot achieve this. Planning, imagining, or waiting only prolongs confusion and doubt. Only by doing, testing, and engaging with reality do you gain understanding, direction, and confidence. The first step, however small, begins the process of moving from uncertainty to certainty, from hesitation to progress, and from fear to competence. Time is your most precious asset. Unlike money, which can be earned back, or possessions, which can be replaced, time is limited and cannot be recovered. Every moment that passes is gone forever, and once it is gone, it can never be returned. Yet most people treat time carelessly. They scroll endlessly on their phones, procrastinate on important tasks, or allow distractions to steal their attention. They forget that every day is made up of finite moments, and how they spend those moments determines the quality and direction of their lives. Understanding the true value of time is one of the most important steps toward ending procrastination and living purposefully. Time is invisible, which makes it easy to underestimate. It does not announce itself, and it passes quietly, 1 second at a time. Because of this, people often take it for granted, assuming there will always be more. They think, I have plenty of time to start, or I can do it tomorrow. But tomorrow is uncertain. None of us knows how much time we have left, and the longer we delay meaningful action, the greater the risk of regret. The awareness that time is limited should inspire urgency, clarity, and focus. Every moment wasted is an opportunity lost, and every minute invested wisely compounds into results that shape the future. Time is a measure of our choices. How you spend your hours reflects your priorities, values, and discipline. Every action consumes a portion of your life, and every decision about what to do or avoid carries consequences. People who procrastinate or make excuses are, in effect, spending their time on unimportant things while ignoring what truly matters. By recognizing that time is finite, you begin to evaluate every activity and habit, asking whether it moves you closer to your goals or distracts you from them. Time becomes a tool, and careful management of it is the foundation of progress. Wasting time is often disguised as comfort. It is easy to choose ease over effort, distraction over focus, and temporary pleasure over long-term benefit. Yet comfort comes at a cost. The hours spent avoiding responsibility, delaying tasks, or seeking entertainment are hours that could have been invested in growth, learning, and achievement. Every day wasted adds up, and over months and years, the cumulative effect can be staggering. Time is a finite resource, and each moment squandered cannot be reclaimed, which makes procrastination one of the greatest thieves of life. Time also reveals the importance of consistency. Progress is rarely achieved through sudden bursts of effort. It comes from repeated actions over long periods. Every day you invest a little time in what matters compounds into meaningful results. Small, disciplined actions consistently applied are far more powerful than occasional moments of inspiration. By treating time as a precious asset, you begin to act deliberately, allocate your hours intentionally, and build habits that multiply the value of every minute. Awareness of time sharpens decision-making. When you understand that every hour is irreplaceable, you become less likely to waste it on trivial matters. You learn to prioritize what matters, to say no to distractions, and to focus on activities that bring lasting benefit. Time teaches urgency, focus, and purpose. It forces you to recognize that inaction has consequences and that waiting for perfect conditions is often an excuse for avoiding effort. Time is also a teacher of accountability. Every day it shows you the result of your choices. If you spend it wisely, you see progress and growth. If you waste it, the consequences accumulate, and regret begins to form. Unlike other resources, time cannot be borrowed, replaced, or regained, which means that every decision about how you spend it carries real weight. By understanding the irreplaceable nature of time, you begin to act with intention, discipline, and courage, knowing that the way you use it determines the trajectory of your life. Discipline is freedom. This may sound like a contradiction, but it is one of the most powerful truths about human behavior. Many people think of discipline as restriction, as a burden, or as a set of rules that limit their choices. They imagine that discipline forces them to deny themselves, to follow routines, and to suppress desires. In reality, discipline creates the structure and control that allow you to act freely and intentionally. Without discipline, life becomes chaotic, driven by impulses, distractions, and other people's demands. With discipline, you gain the ability to make deliberate choices, pursue goals consistently, and avoid being enslaved by habits, fears, or external pressures. Discipline is the foundation of self-mastery. People who lack discipline are often controlled by their emotions, impulses, or short-term desires. They react to situations rather than act with intention, and they allow fear, laziness, or temptation to dictate their actions. Discipline trains the mind and body to act according to reason, purpose, and long-term benefit. It allows you to endure discomfort, resist temptation, and prioritize what truly matters. By strengthening discipline, you take control of your actions, your habits, and your life. You are no longer at the mercy of fleeting feelings or external circumstances. Discipline multiplies freedom because it reduces dependency on circumstances. A person without discipline is a slave to every mood, every distraction, and every external influence. They cannot act unless they feel like it, cannot pursue goals consistently, and often abandon efforts when challenges arise. Discipline, on the other hand, creates internal stability. It allows you to act regardless of emotions, to persist despite difficulties, and to maintain consistency even when motivation fades. This internal control frees you to make progress in any environment, under any conditions, and against any obstacles. Discipline is also a tool for time and energy management. Without it, you waste hours on trivial matters, distractions, and unimportant tasks. With it, you prioritize effort on what matters most, invest energy wisely, and build habits that compound over time. Discipline ensures that your focus, actions, and choices align with your long-term goals. Every day becomes an opportunity to strengthen your character, improve your skills, and move closer to the life you desire. By controlling yourself through discipline, you create freedom from chaos, indecision, and wasted potential. Discipline strengthens resilience. Life is full of challenges, setbacks, and difficulties, and without discipline, it is easy to be thrown off course. People give up, make excuses, or become overwhelmed when obstacles appear. Discipline allows you to endure difficulty, stay consistent, and push through resistance. It creates the habit of action in the face of discomfort, turning challenges into opportunities for growth. The more disciplined you become, the less external circumstances can control you, and the greater your capacity to handle adversity with calm, focus, and determination. Discipline is freedom because it aligns your actions with your goals and values. Without it, you drift aimlessly, reactively, and without purpose. With it, you decide the direction of your life and act deliberately to achieve it. You gain the ability to choose long-term gain over short-term pleasure, effort over avoidance, and progress over procrastination. Every act of discipline reinforces this freedom, building strength, confidence, and control that cannot be taken away. Discipline also creates opportunity. When your mind and habits are trained, you can take advantage of circumstances, act decisively, and move quickly when opportunity arises. Without discipline, even the best opportunities may be wasted because of hesitation, distraction, or lack of preparation. With discipline, your actions are consistent, your focus is sharp, and your life becomes a reflection of deliberate choices rather than random chance. Discipline is freedom because it removes the illusions that control us. Laziness, fear, and impulse may seem like freedom in the moment, but they create bondage to circumstance, habit, and regret. True freedom comes from self-mastery, from the ability to act intentionally, from the power to choose effort over ease. Discipline is the bridge between desire and action, between intention and achievement, and between chaos and control. By cultivating discipline, you gain the capacity to live fully, act decisively, and pursue what matters without being held hostage by weakness, distraction, or fear. Start now, stop waiting. This is one of the simplest yet most powerful truths for anyone who struggles with procrastination or excuses. Most people delay action because they are waiting for the perfect moment, the right conditions, or the ideal circumstances. They believe they need more preparation, more knowledge, more time, or more energy before they can begin. But perfection never comes. Conditions will never align perfectly, and waiting only prolongs the moment when action should have been taken. Every day spent waiting is a day lost, and the longer you delay, the harder it becomes to start. The key to progress is to begin immediately, using the resources, abilities, and opportunities that are available right now. Starting now requires courage because it often means acting without certainty. The future is unknown, and fear of failure or mistakes can prevent action. Yet taking the first step is what creates momentum, insight, and confidence. Even small actions can produce results that reveal the next step. Waiting for clarity or confidence before beginning is an illusion. Clarity comes through experience, and confidence comes through doing. The moment you start, you begin to move forward, and each step taken diminishes fear, hesitation, and doubt. Procrastination is built on excuses and the illusion of infinite time. People convince themselves that they have plenty of time to act, that opportunities will wait, or that they can start tomorrow. This is a lie that the mind tells to avoid discomfort. The truth is that time is finite, and every delay comes with a cost. Waiting to act allows doubt, distraction, and laziness to grow stronger. The longer you wait, the heavier the inertia becomes, and the more difficult it is to begin. By starting now, you break the cycle of delay, take control of your time, and reclaim the power to shape your life. Starting now also transforms thought into action. Many people spend hours thinking, planning, and worrying, yet accomplish little. Thinking alone cannot create results. Action bridges the gap between intention and outcome. The moment you act, even imperfectly, you produce something tangible, learn from experience, and gain insight that cannot come from speculation or hesitation. Every step forward teaches you what works, what does not, and how to adjust. Action provides feedback, clarity, and direction, while waiting produces only stagnation. The habit of starting immediately strengthens discipline and self-control. Each time you choose to act instead of delaying, you reinforce the ability to overcome fear, distraction, and resistance. You train yourself to prioritize effort over comfort, progress over delay, and purpose over excuses. This habit compounds over time, creating a mindset where starting becomes natural, hesitation diminishes, and action becomes the default response to any challenge or opportunity. Starting now is also a rejection of regret. Every delayed decision, every postponed task, and every avoided responsibility carries the risk of future regret. When you act immediately, you reduce the chance of looking back and wishing you had done more sooner. You take ownership of your life, invest in your goals, and use your time intentionally. Action prevents the buildup of regret by ensuring that every moment contributes to growth, learning, or achievement. Starting now embraces imperfection. Waiting for the perfect plan, perfect knowledge, or perfect conditions is a form of self-deception. Perfection is an illusion that keeps people from acting. By starting immediately, you accept that progress often comes through trial, error, and adjustment. You learn, adapt, and improve as you move forward. Imperfect action is better than perfect inaction, because it produces results, momentum, and growth that cannot exist without effort. Starting now creates momentum. The first step, no matter how small, sets the rest in motion. Movement generates energy, confidence, and clarity, making the next step easier and the path forward more visible. Every delay robs you of this momentum, while immediate action compounds it. Starting now is the bridge from thought to reality, from fear to courage, and from intention to achievement.